Hi, welcome to Varieties Part 2. In just a minute, we'll be welcoming back the owner of LegacyFarmsCoffee.com, Ashley Williams, to explain more in detail about varieties. Welcome back, Ashley. Good to have you here.
Thanks, good to be here. We were going to continue to talk about varieties. A lot of people confuse varieties with families. So there's a couple of families. The two main families are Arabica and Robusta. Arabica has a great reputation for having more flavorful coffees, where Robusta is a little more of a harsh coffee that has great content of caffeine. And so in some cases has almost twice the caffeine. So it's used a lot in espresso shots, things like that. On our farm, we grow Arabica. And so we're going to pull a couple of the varieties that we talked about earlier, Iquitu, Lempira, Marsellesa, and Perinema, and talk about those briefly. The Iquitu coffee is grown in the same, they're all grown in the same farm. Iquitu is similar to the Lempira, but it comes later in the year. But just for example, on this variety of Lempira or Iquitu, we cupped it. It has aromas of chocolate and the flavor profile is caramel. The Lempira that we have is a washed Lempira, and we'll talk about that in episode 3. It had chocolate flavors and had caramel aroma. So they're almost opposite coffees. Year to year, sometimes that changes. The Marsellesa that we cupped has a honey and floral flavors and then floral aromas. The Perinema that we cupped has dried fruit and raisins as a flavor profile, and the aromas are dried fruit. So those are just 4 of the 6 varieties that we grow on the farm. They're all Arabica coffees. In episode 4, we're going to go into a lot more detail on how scoring works, but today we'll briefly go over scores as well. We had 2 lots of Iquitu, and these are 2 coffees from the same area. They're the exact same little patch of land. We did one had an 84 points in the cup, and we had one that had 85. And the same coffee, they were dried different days. That's probably the only difference is the climate that they were dried in. On the Lempira washed, this particular one was dried. It had very bad rains that week. It was not very hot that week. It cupped at 82.25. Still a specialty grade coffee, but a lower cupping coffee for sure. We'll use that coffee to flavor with caramel macchiato, pumpkin spice, Jamaica Me Crazy. But it is still a specialty grade coffee, but it was one of the lowest cupping coffee we had on our farm this year. This Perinema that we had is the dried fruit and raisins. That's a very unusual cupping. It also cupped higher at an 86. So those are just some examples. We love to have questions from the viewers. Please share the content. Please subscribe to our website, subscribe to our YouTube, and send us any questions that you have. Thanks for joining us.